Ladies and gents, welcome to Trot The Egg In, and I'm Joe. So this week there is no rugby story, so thought I'd give you a little insight into my growing up, my rugby background, and how the podcast came about. So I grew up in Widnes, Brunner Road, by the North Stand of Norton Park, as many of you know it. I grew up with three sisters, my mum, my dad, and our Buster the dog. So I started playing rugby when I was about 7 or 8. I was told to go and have a go, and they thought it'd be more for me from a football coach, funnily enough. So I went down to Holton Hornets at Crowwood Park in Alton View, and as they say, the rest is history. So I went there, like I said, at 7 or 8, not knowing anybody, maybe one or two. And yeah, I loved it, and I've always enjoyed the physical side of it and learning the smarts and plays. And I basically thought I was a standoff in a props body, basically, which many of you that know me probably know I still think I am. So when I was about 10, 11, I was selected for the town team, but that come through school. So I went St Bees Junior School in Widnes, played the year above at school. I was told to go down for trials. The school sent me on behalf of the school. That's how it used to be back then. I'm not sure how it is now. They used to recommend you down for the trial. You'd show up at the old ICI on Liverpool Road in Widnes. You'd go and see your name on the board outside and see what team you were on and go and see what kit you needed to pick up. I'm pretty sure it was 2 trial days. It was 4 games over the 2 days. On the second day, you were called into the ICI, and if your name got read out, you got in. And thankfully, I got in, which I'd later find out that it was by the skin of my teeth. But so be it. If you're in, aren't you? So yeah, I enjoyed town team. We used to have to keep a little journal about how we felt training when, how we felt games when. I played with a lot of lads that I didn't know from another team in Widnes called West Bank at the time. There was only Alton Hornets and West Bank my age. So I done that, and then we went on tour to Yorkshire. I put a question out on the socials in the week, and a funny response from Tom Wood-Hume now was he enjoyed the tour, and me and Tom actually won the Matchbox Rugby tournament, which is quite funny thinking back about it. So yeah, it's good memories. And when we were playing out in Hornets, we played a really good standard for our ages. We were playing the big recognised teams, the Wigan St Pats, the Lee East, Lee Miners, Blackbrook, Pilks, Oldham St Anne's, Oral St James. We were playing them teams. Really enjoyed it. The transition into high school was really smooth. I formed up with a couple of mates from junior school and a couple of mates from Alton Hornets, and it was strange at first seeing your mates from the other end of town in the same school, and then the club rugby sort of transcending into school rugby. At school, we were only allowed to play rugby league if we played rugby union because a lot of us were on the town team slash service area program. That's how I come across rugby union. We basically were a rugby league team that played rugby union. We were not very good at the set piece, and first year we done really well. I'm pretty sure we went unbeaten. I think we drew a game against Cowley from St Helens the first game. If I'm right, I could be wrong. And then I'm pretty sure we went unbeaten and went to some grammar schools and won as well, which is a good feat for young lads, especially rugby league lads. On the rugby league front, out and on, it's were going really well. We were still in that big fixture pool because I'm pretty sure it didn't go to the league system until we were 13. I remember, like I say to lads on the podcast now and ladies, that you used to have foresaw cards to ID you to make sure it was you and you were paying at the right age. And yeah, it was very grateful. It's another answer on the question I put out on the socials about memories from childhood sport. It was the relationships you make, and I'm only now learning that now I don't play that they're the special things. Not the rugby's a little bit of a hindrance at times. It's the relationships you make through the rugby, and very grateful that I had great coaches growing up. So town team was Roger Harrison, Mr. O'Grady, Mr. Mead, Mr. Allen. At Holton Hornets, it was Sid Connor, Des Dooley, Paul Kelly, very lucky. And then later on, well, I then went and played a few games for the Wids as well, and which is Widnes Rugby Union, sorry. So that would have been Paul Newall, and we had a good coach there who knew rugby union like the back of his hand. We were a bit raw because we were rugby league lads really, but he allowed us to play how we play, and that was really helpful. When we went back to rugby league, Halton Hornets then become Widnes Moorfield because we moved clubhouse where we used to play, so we changed kit colour. We were green and black. We went to white, black, and blue, and changed our name and played from a different place. But the team sort of, I felt, even at that young age, stagnated. We were getting overtook by teams we used to comfortably beat. We were doing things that really we should have been kicking on with them, and we wasn't for whatever reason. And lads started falling out. So I made the decision at home, spoke to my mum and dad, and said, I'm going to leave and I want to go and play for West Bank. Little did I know a few lads wanted to leave and go to West Bank to tell them. I think I was captain or vice at the time as well. So one training session, I just went. I didn't go to train, and I just explained to the three coaches that are named. I said I feel like we're not going anywhere anymore, and I want to leave. He said to have a think about it, which I already knew, but I did. I was a shy, timid kid as well, so I'm quite shocked they had the nuts to do it. Really, I used to be nervous before a game and things, so I done that. And then when I went to sign for West Bank, a couple of lads already had. And because we were represented players, I wasn't allowed to sign for West Bank. I weren't allowed to play rugby league that year. So I signed for Widnes Rugby Union after playing in a bit of a representative game for them. And I went to Widnes Rugby Union for a year under Paul Newall. Got managed to get into Merseyside, which wasn't very difficult. I appreciate that, but still, when you're a kid, you're buzzing. So we went to Robin Park in Wigan, and we played an inter area team like series, and I got selected with a couple of other Widnes lads to go on Lancashire camp. But the nerves took over. I didn't really perform. I didn't go back out for it in the afternoon. I just wanted to go home really, and I weren't selected. But a couple of my mates was, and I was made up for them. I wish I had the ability to get rid of the nerves and just go and have a go and give myself the best chance, really. But it's not meant to be. In hindsight, you live and learn, don't you? I should have took it a bit more easy and enjoyed it a bit more. But went back to Widnes Rugby Union then and enjoyed that. But a couple of friends' dads set up a team at Widnes St Mary's, so I went back to rugby league with Widnes St Mary's. Took a couple of lads from the Wids with us. The old Moorfield lads, most of them went there. A couple of West Bank lads went there, so it was a good mix again. We went unbeaten the first year in Division One. We got to the Premier, and I'm pretty sure we folded before we give it a go. Lads had left or signed for out of town teams. So the only option for me really was to go back to the Wids, and it's the best decision I made. I stayed there right up until senior rugby. So senior rugby and rugby union begins at under 17. So we call that junior colts. So in junior colts, you get put into a league system. You're also in a league cup, and you're in the Lancashire Cup as well. And the team hadn't won the Lancashire Cup from the junior colts for a long time at the club, and we were lucky. We got to the final that year. I think we drew away. So with us being the away team, we went through. I'm pretty sure we got a bye in the semi-final for some mad reason, and then we got beat in the final. Then at Rochdale, the year after, we become senior colts, but you're still 18, not quite 19, but it's under 19s. Again, we were in a league. We were in the League Cup, and we played the Lancashire Cup as well. So we won that league. It was us and Wigan with head and head all the way through, really. And then we won. We got beat in the League Cup because we'd had a few the night before, and we then come to an agreement we wouldn't drink before cup games. So, and also unless you were in the first team, you weren't allowed to play a second team because I was already playing open age rugby at this point. So I was in and out the first team, more in it than out, and then I was named second team captain. But I didn't play a lot of second team. I was in the first team a lot. I was playing summer rugby league for Runcorn at the time. So I was extra busy. The rugby was a lovely distraction, uh, just in general from things going on, and I was lucky and I made some great friends. They're still my friends now, and they will be till the day I die. So that was the summer rugby then, and then transitioning through, we won the Lancashire Cup, we won the league, and it just massive achievement. It felt great, but the next step then is trying to take that into senior rugby or men's rugby as we call it. So initially in the first team, I was in and out the team. I was on the bench a lot. I was a front row when I first come through. I probably still was, but I blagged it, which I'll tell you about now. And I done all right. I held my own. I was managing to compete. I wasn't looking out a place that I'm aware of. I'm pretty sure if I was, my mates and people at the club would have told me. I was enjoying it, and then somebody I played against one week, the week after, got seriously hurt in a collapsed scrum, which made me think I'm only 18, 19 at this point. Is that what I want? No. So I will go in and say I now want to play back row, which is for viewers and listeners is number 6, 7, or 8. I'm definitely not a 7 because I'm as slow as a tank, but I could play 6 and 8. Me vision's decent, my hands are decent. I weren't the best player, but I weren't the worst player either. I was a small cog in a very good team. I was told I wouldn't get selected for first team in the back row, so I was more than happy to play a second team. It's still competitive. It's still with all my friends like who were coming through from the Colts. Yeah, I loved it, and that was when I was named captain in the second team as well. But I weren't there long with it being unavailabilities, injuries, bans, away on all of these family work. Somehow I found my way back in that first team in the back row, mainly as an 8, but sometimes as a 6. I grew into the first team. I got to know lads, and lads really looked after me. People like Mike Lamb, Paul Borg, Richie Baraclough, Liam Wild, Kyle McGreevy, Neil Street, all them types of blokes. Si Alderson all looked after us young lads, took us under their wings, showed us a little bit of what we should be doing, showed us a little bit of what we shouldn't be doing as well. And we played hard, but we party hard as well, and we trained well. And at the Wids, you used to get 2 beer tokens if you trained Tuesday, Thursday. You get one if you were selected Thursday and Saturday. So my beer tokens become cider tokens. So I enjoyed that. I didn't really miss training. Wasn't often injured at all. I sort of done quite well with injuries. But I was still at a spell where I was in and out the team. I don't think I never felt fully trusted. I never felt like they really rated me in the back row. I had a point to prove all the time, and I stuck up for myself on the field. I wasn't to be bullied. I wasn't a trouble causer, but I wouldn't avoid it either. I wouldn't seek it, but I wouldn't avoid it. We done really well. We built a team when like Welshie come back from Widnes St Mary's, and lads of his generation, the Mike Lambs, the Phil Glovers, the Welshies, the Paul O'Connor come back, and Andy Riley at fullback, Kev Ledbetter was scoring tries for fun. The back line was just unplayable. And I think they were all playing extremely well at the same time. So we felt we were winning games before we even played them at times. It was great to be involved in that team. We won promotion to North One West, I think it was called. We beat Fleetwood in a playoff game at home, and then played in a National Cup semi-final at home. That was a really big game, but we got battered by Stoke, and it overwhelmed, or certainly overwhelmed me. It was a massive crowd. We didn't play for weeks before it because we didn't have fixtures, and we had people going and watching them and filming them, and we come back and look at what they were doing. And on game day, they come and played nothing like that and just played us off the park. Really, I got dragged off at half time, and it's like felt like you'd waited forever for this game, and it just passed me by in a flash, and I was left wondering really, and I didn't learn from it. I didn't control my emotions or nerves before a game very well at all. So after that, I felt I'd established myself. I was a bit of a goal kicker, so when Kev wasn't available to kick goals, if he was injured or weren't playing hard kick, and had a memorable time over in the Isle of Man and a couple of times, and some big wins at home and away, Vale of Loons and teams like that. I really enjoyed it. We managed to get to a Lancashire Trophy final We played Littleborough at Tilsley. Again, it was on a bank holiday. It was suit and boots job and coach there, which we wouldn't normally get a coach to Tilsley. And I think we were the main game of the day as well. So the Lancashire Trophy in Rugby Uni is actually factually the original the original Challenge Cup trophy from Rugby League. So it was nice to get my hands on that in a different colour. I've got a claim to fame there. But the day, yeah, it was a great day, great turnout from the Wids people and fans and players that weren't selected, the young lads that had been on tour. It was just like it felt big for an amateur team, and it was. And again, I started in the back row. They dropped the goal really early. I remember them being like really buoyed by it and confident, and I was quite shocked. There was literally like a minute or two in, and they went for the drop goal. And I appreciate it can set you onto a good path, but just the amount of celebrating after it, I thought was a bit strange. But we went on to win anyway, and I played an integral part that day. I played 55, 60 minutes, and I loved it. I had a good drink that night, and it was great, and pictures on the wall. And it was that team carried on being successful. I think we were finishing fourth, third. We were really good, but that core group of players, which I named before, barring Kev Ledbetter and Andy Riley. Andy moved on to Sedgley Park and is ripping it up at Sedgley Park. Kev stayed at the club but had to move infield because people left, and then you had Matthew Smith moved abroad. So there's Smigger for people that don't know, and the team sort of was changing, and we suffered from that, especially all them people leaving at once. And we got new coaches in, so Tank and Paul left, and we got Dave Pete and Dave Westhead, who were great. I think they were the right people, unfortunately, at the wrong time. If they maybe would have had the team Paul and Tank could have had, maybe we'd have went up again and consolidated, but it weren't meant to be. And Dave stuck around, Dave Westhead, and he was unfortunate. We were getting 4, 6, 8 people training most weeks, which wasn't good enough, and it just didn't work out, and we got relegated. That's the year we come back and played in. I think I'm pretty sure it was level 7. I'd picked up an injury, a back injury in work. Didn't think out of it. Come back and played virtually straight away. Trained on it. Wasn't quite right, but wasn't debilitating or anything like that. Just one game. I think we're playing Kendall at home. I went from a crouch to stood up, and my back went. I had to sort of crawl off. Went and got a shower while the lads were playing, got in the car, drove home, was on the couch, 6 weeks, couldn't move. So I come back after that, hurt it again. This time it was 4.5 months, couldn't move. Got sent for all scans and went to Walton Centre, met a surgeon, and because of my age, I was 26 at the time, she wasn't willing to operate. So it could have been a disc replacement, which they no longer do on the NHS. I could fuse me back, which they didn't want to do because of my age or pain management, and the latter was what she suggested. Whilst adding on to the back of that, the anecdote of I think you have to call a day with the rugby, I'm afraid, John. So I'd already promised myself it. I was crawling up the stairs to use the toilet when my back went, and weren't nice seeing family getting upset. It weren't nice not feeling like I could come and see my mate because I was off work, and then work made it an easy decision because they said it's job or rugby, and fundamentally I'm a grave digger. I need my body to work. I can't not have a working back really. So the decision was took out my hands anyway, but I was going that way. So I went straight into coaching with Dan Newall and Adam Watson with the Widnes Rugby Union second team. Really enjoyed it. I like to think I helped progress a few lads into being capable of playing first team rugby, which they probably already were, but they just needed that bit of not finesse, but a little bit of smart blowing up their ass, me telling them they're good enough, so go and have a go. And the downside, I was probably too stern on people. I was probably too still in the player mindset because I went direct from a player to a coach, and I probably wasn't ready. I didn't step back and look at the bigger picture as a coach. I looked at it as a player and expected everybody to be able to see what I could see and everyone to be able to do what I felt I could do. It's not the case, and I appreciate that now, and I appreciated it not long after. It's hindsight, like I say, to everybody, and it's a lesson learned. If I could do it again, I'd do it differently. But yeah, it was a pleasure working with Dan and Adam on that and getting to know a lot of the younger lads because I didn't quite know them that well, and now I class them as friends now, and the progression of them filtering into the first team, playing at Twickenham, winning national finals in Darlington. It's been great to see how them lads have developed. So from coaching, and I realised I needed to take a step back. It was I was too serious. I was too uptight. I thought if the lads are honest, the lads probably didn't enjoy being coached by me at that point. Like I said, I was too fresh from playing it. Weren't the right time really. Dan understood. Adam understood. Adam got back playing himself, and Dan led the team on to really good success and trophies, and is doing really well at Didsbury in Manchester now. So good luck to Dan, and I know he's going to smash it there, and he has been smashing it there. So I stepped back and I do a few little jokey videos for YouTube for the club at this point. So it was called Decades. It's basically Guess Who. So you get a name on your phone, you put your phone on your forehead, and you'd have to guess as many as you could. And the lads got really competitive with it, loved it, and along came COVID. That was meant to be really short and a little bit of an illness that would go away that didn't quite go away. I hadn't long lost my mum, so I had a lot going on myself anyway, and really the idea of the podcast come about because one, I couldn't play rugby anymore. Two, I wanted to find a way of keeping players, sponsors, people, coaches interested in Widnes Rugby Union. And I felt I'd listened to a couple of podcasts and I felt through a podcast we could potentially do that. Three, replace the rugby. I was never going to replace my mum, but it was a nice distraction. So, Dan, are you up for that? And Dan, yeah, I'm up for that, John. If you find a way of doing it and how we can distribute it, I'll certainly co-host it with you, and we'll see how it goes. Next call goes to Kevin Ledbetter. He's our guinea pig for everything and anything. He's our test magnet. Kev, how are you doing? What you're after, John? Doing a podcast, mate. Will you be the first episode? And let's see how it goes, Kevin. As always, Kev, yeah, definitely, mate. Let's sort a date and time out, and I'll do it. So we done it. It was an hour and 45 minutes. It was through just an audio. There was no video then. Kev was Kev's end was fine. Dan's end was fine. I felt my end was fine. Everything sounded great. When I was editing I just trimmed the start and the end. I didn't really understand editing that well then. And then little did I know when I put it out, Kev rung me with a lot of issues. So one of the issues was you could hear the clock in my kitchen. So it's one of them, isn't it? And then Kevin later on in the chat, his answers were coming out of the recording before the question was asked. And then as it looked like it was easing, it just cut off. So Kevin's episode actually is quite poor. I'm sorry, Kev, if you watch or listen to this, but yeah, it's ended up being a nice lesson for me and a lovely launch pad. But Kevin's episode doesn't do Kevin justice, so we'll get Kevin back on at some point. But it was a great learning curve, and then lads heard Kevin's start of it and were keen to get involved, and it was said young lads that jumped on the decades that were more than happy to jump on the podcast. Got to a place where I felt are people interested in the everyday lad or lady's story. So I leaned on a friend of mine and a friend of the pods, and I played with him at the Wids when he fell out of love with the rugby league, and his name's Chris Atkin. He's ripping it up in rugby league, and he's kicked on and done really well now, and he's really settled and happy, and his family are great. And so I messaged Chris and asked Chris if he'd come on because I know his story's unique. Not everyone can relate to Chris's journey, but that's the beauty of Chris's journey. Chris was more than obliged. He come on, he was great, and his story speaks for itself. My problem then is lads don't want to follow Chris Atkin. So I've made a bed for myself. I've got to lie in it, haven't I? So A couple of lads come on, but they're like really good friends of mine, help me out. After Chris, what do I do? I go and get Paul Sculthorpe, whose story's as good as Chris's, if not a little bit better. No offense, Chris, and he's won multiple trophies individually and collectively. He's a massive character in the sport. He represents the Great Britain and Saints teams I grew up watching. And it's even harder to get people on. But thanks to social media and contacts through the game and outside of the game, the podcast has just grew and grew. And I still enjoy doing it. I still like putting it out there. The people I've sport to and some of the people I've managed to meet from it have been amazing. I can't thank everyone enough. I really appreciate the honesty and the openness that they come on with, and hopefully they feel I'm as honest, giving it back and asking. So I just want to thank everyone that's been on so far, and I'll thank people in advance that are going to come on, and I hope that the viewers and listeners, yourselves, I hope you're all still enjoying it, and anything I can do to improve it, please feel free to reach out and recommend people or recommend things they're doing, editing things, anything. I'm open to criticism. I'm open to being slagged off. I'm open to you saying it's all right. I don't mind. I'm thick skinned. Just tell me how it is, and please keep following, liking, subscribing, sharing, keep spreading the word. It's just me. I've no sponsors. I've no. The Wids helped me out a little bit with stuff, and Sharon, bless her, got me the advertising board for the back. These are all companies that are helping the Wids and sponsor the Wids and a big part of Widnes growing and getting bigger and better. But I'm just independent. It's my hobby. I love it, but it is exactly that. It's a hobby, so I do it as much as I can when I can. Some weeks I can't get an episode out, and I apologise in advance for that as well. But please keep on board, keep sharing it, like I said, liking it, subscribing, encouraging other people to follow us and add us and all that jazz. We're on we're on LinkedIn, we're on all the socials. You can listen on Spotify, you can watch on YouTube. So that's a little bit of the background about my rugby story and how Trot the Egg In and rugby story come about, and hopefully there's plenty more to come from me and from the pod and from the people we all love watching and listening to. Thank you very much.